And welcome back to us in Iquitos. So ever since this week, I think we're getting to work at a pace now. So we're starting to know how do you work with the children, how do you get the most out of them. It's trying to get them onto some big proper books like the famous Five today, and we're reading this shortened version of Oliver Twist. So it's great introducing them to stories, to maths. But we're looking at how can we help in a wider way. And what we found is that little clues come here and there. So we've had one clue we heard about was an organisation called the Asociación de Mujeres Emprendedoras, which is basically the association of female entrepreneurs. And we've been thinking, how can we help? Can we find out when this reunion is? Because I would really like to help from a business perspective. We have workshops that I used to do in Edinburgh. How can I come and help with that? It's more in my area. Sometimes I'm reading with kids, but I'll do both. But of course, you can't find things on the internet, so we've been asking around and we'll have to just see what happens there. Another thing that has come up is potentially getting to go volunteer with Manatees. So we went to the local manatee reserve where which is just down the road. And the difference between that and a zoo is that all the animals that are on the reserve, so for example, they have prehistoric tortoises, alligators, paiche, which is that 2-meter long fish. They have, and they have baby manatees as well. The difference is that the animals there aren't there for entertainment, but they've been saved. So like monkeys have been saved who were pets. And we went and it was wonderful. I mean, I've been before, but you can splash the water in the manatee, which is just like related to an elephant, and will just bobble up and start munching these floating aquatic plants. Well, you can go and you can just spend time with them, and then we heard, well, you can volunteer. So we're trying to see, can we get that opportunity as something we can do on a Sunday? And then there are more things. So Daniel and I have made a pamphlet, and we want to start advertising English classes to the wider community. And what we'd like even more than that is to start helping young people who's finishing school to start learning about how to create business models and how to promote their own enterprises. But obviously that's hard. First for the Spanish, second for do people know what that is? No. And thirdly, how do you communicate that? So we thought, got an action plan, and we'll start with little things like volunteering and sorting out English, and if we can find that Asociación de Mujeres Emprendedoras, that would be absolutely perfect. Aside from that, we went at the weekend to Iquitos. Again, a bit stressful because the internet is just so slow. But afterwards, we went and sat in this really touristy place that my guidebook had recommended, called Amazon Bistro. And we sat looking out onto the river, because Iquitos looks right. If you go to the Malecón, which is like the promenade by the river, you can see out to pure jungle, and it was just so beautiful, and the seats were padded, and I thought to myself for a moment, what would happen if I took a flight home right now? Which is such a bad thought, but it just gives you an idea of the it's lovely to be here, it's so beautiful, but also sometimes you get those moments you're almost ashamed of, can't I just go back to where I was? But no, I'm actually feeling really optimistic about this week. So we've built more relationships with the children now. They come to us for help. I now know how to do long division. Unfortunately had a bit of an accident with Daniel yesterday where I stuck my hair clip in his eye and he had to have a bandage, but I hope that he will feel better afterwards and be able to see. Anyway, another thing we've been doing is currently we're doing surveys with a charity on domestic violence. So I got the chance yesterday to accompany some of the volunteers out to a local invasion. That's what it's called. It's where people just cut down the rainforest and built their houses. And I got the chance to go along and help with these interviews. So we just did one interview in the end, a girl and me. And it turns out that even just in the one interview, there were already cases of domestic violence, like husbands beating their wives because they're drunk or beating their teenagers. And there seems to be a really a thing that's really rife in the community. And that's why the charity Suyai is currently setting up an office that's going to help people deal both on the law side and on the psychological side, help them deal with domestic violence and actually get past it, or make a husband or a father pay for a child's food. At the same time, the doctor I was with was called to attend to a child who was painfully thin and crying and weeping, and the poor thing looked like a big belly and like tiny arms, and it wasn't the mother's fault as such, but it had just got ill. And you find that here, like, just diseases are rife. And so the doctor had to go and take the child to the hospital, and I found myself sitting there in a living room full of Peruvians, watching the kind of prelude to the match, which was Peru versus Colombia, which was really important to them because they can potentially qualify for the World Cup. Fortunately, they had a draw, but we were watching, all of us Peruvians sitting there in this little living room while I was waiting, watching the people on the TV screen singing this new song they have called Viva Peru. Anyway, so best of luck to Peru. Just had a picture of the poverty that we see around here, but also having some clues as to ways that we can actually start to really, get going and help. That's from me. Thank you.